One of the things you will find is a list of all the rubrics. I want you to use the Integrative Review paper rubric. When you open that rubric, this is what you will find. There are a couple of things that I would like you to know about the paper. The first is that this is a demonstration of the knowledge that you are learning from your textbook and from your assignments in the course. And this is the opportunity you will have to apply what you are learning. This is a scaffolded assignment. You will do a little bit each week in the discussion boards that will then feed into this paper so that at the end of the semester, you are not trying to write an entire paper in a week. The second thing is an integrative review takes a lot of time to do a full paper. You are obviously writing this in the course of one semester. Your time is limited, which means when you look at integrative reviews online and in professional journals, they took a lot of time to do those papers, more time than you have. That is not the level of work that I expect. But I expect a really strong effort of what is possible in the course of the semester. Please take the time to carefully read the instructions and the guidelines that follow for this paper. Feel free to ask me questions or make an appointment to consult with me via Zoom. You will submit a draft 1 week before the paper is due, and you will be working on the content that goes in the tables each week. You will be assessing new articles and evaluating them and making sure that they fit into your paper. You'll get feedback along the way, and you can then make corrections based on that feedback so that when it comes time to write the paper, you should be good to go. Be sure and write in your own words and synthesize the works you have read. Be careful not to plagiarize and avoid frequent or long quotations. You need to learn to synthesize the information, put it in your own words, and then cite the appropriate sources, referencing the authors and the sources that helped you to shape your work. Be sure and use the following outline when you write your paper. Use the major headings below to organize your paper. Now, one of the things that you will notice, and one of the things that's in your syllabus, and I will tell you to do, is use the author guidelines from the Journal of Nursing Scholarship. There's 2 real reasons I want you to do this. One is I want you to get used to looking at the author guidelines in a journal. One day, I hope you're publishing your own papers. And when you do, those are the guidelines you will have to follow. And they're a little bit different for every journal. The second reason I chose the Journal of Nursing Scholarship is because it's the official journal of Sigma Theta Tau, which I hope by the time you finish this degree, you will be members of. And it also uses APA format. And in most nursing programs, we still use APA format. I'm going to ask you to use APA 7th edition because that's what your other courses will be asking you to use, even though the journal guidelines still use APA 6th edition. Other than that, as we go through this rubric, what you're going to see is that a lot of the information came from author guidelines in the Journal of Nursing Scholarship. Let's begin by talking about the title page. I want you to do your title page in their format, including a statement of clinical relevance and keywords. One of the things we do as nurses is we want to make sure that we're doing things that are clinically relevant. The title should include the focus of the article in as few words as possible. You'll need a running head, and the running head is abbreviated wording of the title. It's usually no more than 4 or 5 words. Include the information about yourself, your name, your earned degrees and certifications. If you are a Sigma Theta Tau member already, what chapter? The title or position of your institution or work and location, and your email address. And for our purposes, it will be your student information. To whom correspondence should be sent. And of course, as your instructor, I know that it's going to you. But this is practice to learn for the future. Phone numbers, emails, and be sure to include emails of all co-authors. You won't have any co-authors in this paper, but if you did and you were writing for a professional journal, you would list them all. The first thing, and you will know, it's only 10 points out of a 200-point paper, but it's important for presentation purposes to start out strong, which is why I want you to have a really strong abstract. Your abstract should be structured. It should have the purpose of the article without detailed background, the design including the type of study, sample setting, dates, and data of collection. And you're all writing the same type of paper, so it should essentially be the same for most people. The methods, such as interventions, measures, types of analysis, findings, and conclusions. If the manuscript is focused on a review or theoretical analysis instead of an empirical study, a structured abstract will be required. That's you. But organizing constructs may be stated instead of the design. And then clinical relevance. A 1 or 2 sentence statement on the clinical relevance of your study follows the structured abstract. This is important. It's the first thing I will read, and it will set the tone for your paper. This whole section should not exceed 200 words. The second piece is the background or the introduction. This is the opening 2 pages of your paper. It should not be less than 500 words or more than 1,000. In this section, you provide a background to your study. Why is it clinically significant? And what is the present purpose of the study? So it's all about your presentation here. Be sure to do a good job. It is 25 points. Part 3 is the methods. This section tells the reader how you did the study. It should not be less than 1,000 words or more than 2,000 words. The methods section should include the identification of existing reviews, inclusion criteria, search criteria, screening, integration of qualitative and qualitative studies, and study quality. Again, 25 points. Part 4 is your results. This section tells the reader what you found. It should not be less than 500 words or more than 1,000. It should include the reliability of quantitative studies, the validity of the quantitative studies, including face, content, and construct, and a table of key findings of the studies and evaluation of factors studied and data synthesis. Again, 25 points. Part 5 includes your discussion, limitations, and conclusions, and it should not be less than 1,000 words. This is 25 points. Finally, the analysis, and this is not a section of your paper. This is the overall analysis. This is not a section of the paper. Let me repeat it again. This is not a section of the paper. But I will be looking to see that you were able to address the impact of nursing practice and that you thoroughly analyze the subject. That is 50 points. That is a lot. This is where I'm grading. Did you apply the content in your textbook? Did you understand it? And then finally, APA style. I am not a huge proponent of taking a lot of points off for style. However, when I don't have any, people can tend to be really sloppy. So there's 20 points that is assigned to your APA style. The context of the study or the analysis is important. The text should indicate the characteristics of the setting in which the study is conducted. Whenever possible, the review of the literature and the discussion, interpretation, and comparisons of findings should include the references of relevant work published in other countries, contexts, and populations. Be sure clinical resources are required and consist of websites, title of material, and URL. They are related to the topic. Ideally, I want you to use peer-reviewed literature in your papers. I know that every once in a while there is information on a website that is important. The reference list should include only those references that are important to the text. Long lists of references are not desirable. Again, this comes directly from the Journal of Nursing Scholarship. And in your case, all the references of the articles in your table do need to be listed. Please use their style for each of your tables or figures that you use in the paper. The paper should be 12-point font, double spaced, Times New Roman, Courier, and in a Microsoft Word document or rich text. You should have 1-inch margins all the way around. Fancy typefaces, italics, underlining, bolding, bright colors, anything else not consistent with APA style should not be used. Papers must not exceed 20 pages. I seriously doubt any of you will get to 20 pages, but this 20 pages includes your abstract, your text, your references, your tables, your figures. Everything counts into the 20 pages. This is a total of 200 points. Each week in your discussion board, I am going to ask you to review articles. I want to ask you to attach the articles for me so I can make sure you are including relevant articles. You are correctly identifying the type of research they were, the methods they used, and the type of data that they have. I will be checking all of that so that when you get to this paper, you have the table, which is an included part of this, already pre-formatted and ready to insert. You will also get feedback from your peers in the class, and it's really important for each of you when you're reviewing what the person put in that you open their articles, that you look at them, and if you see that they made an error, be sure and help them to correct it. The goal is we all succeed together, and we want to have people help us find our mistakes before we put them in a paper. And the same is true once you're writing professionally. You want to share your articles with people and have them proof them for you, have them give you feedback. You never want to find out that you've published something that has errors in it. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope that you will enjoy writing this paper and that it will give you a useful skill set when the class is complete.